Yes. What is good, my people? Welcome back to Computer Music Academy's weekly homework podcast. I am your host, Tashira Say. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Welcome to week number 85? Damn. Of the weekly homework assignment / podcast. Shout out to my man Shownuff for providing that intro for the last couple of weeks. This will be the last week that we're using it. Moving on to something else next week. So shout out for that. And shout out to everybody at CMA that actually provides the intros for the podcast, because the majority of the time they're actually pretty banging. So shout out for that. Anyhow, welcome. Another week of the weekly homework assignment. This one is going to be pretty cool, if you ask me. As I normally say, and I am going to say it, very interesting. So many of you who follow me on social media will know that I am a huge wrestling fan. Always have been, always will be. And we recently had WrestleMania, and we had, pay-per-views that come up every month. And I normally, watch all of the pay-per-views. But then last week, the day that I actually gave this assignment out, because I give these out on Saturdays and they're due the next Saturday, we had a very, very highly anticipated event that was going on. And I took this opportunity to kind of combine the two worlds. So the event that I'm speaking on was the Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight. And one thing that I really enjoy about wrestling, and when I occasionally do watch a boxing match, one thing I really enjoy is the entrances, the intro music, and the whole spectacle with bringing the athletes to the ring. And I said, you know what? We did this last year, and it turned out pretty cool. Well, we did just the wrestling entrances. But I said, since we had the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, I said this would be cool to actually kind of pump up a boxer as well and give them an entrance. So we actually have 5 submissions, and the mission was to create an entrance for either a current or past athlete, be it a wrestler or a boxer, or if it's for you or for an athlete or I should say an athlete that you're actually creating, actually kind of tell their story and what's going on with them. So like I said, 5 submissions, kicking things off with my man from Amsterdam. I can actually say that for those who have ever seen Pulp Fiction. My man from Amsterdam, Black Monk. Let's see what he's doing.
Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready to
Yes. Black Monk. That was actually just named the champ. And he didn't actually give a story. I guess that was just like a, a real cool intro. Didn't actually say who it was for or whatnot, but I really enjoyed that. I especially liked if you paid attention to where it actually calmed down, where it wasn't a lot happening in the song, you could actually hear punching noises in the background that were like pretty much on beat. They were part of the beat of the sequence, which was really, really dope. And then he used some micro buffer we all love Michael Buffer. Is I just hope we don't get sued for using that on YouTube. Because that dude, he actually copywrote that term that let's get ready to, well, I can't say it. He actually copywrote that term, and he has sued people before for using that. But, you know, that's how you get your money, I guess. But yeah, Monk came out swinging, no pun intended. Really liked that track. It was short, kept it very short. I liked the whole track in general. The body of it was really nice. Had some really nice koto, I guess that would be, you know, or oriental string instruments. That's what it sounded like in there. That almost had somewhat of a trap feel, or maybe a hyphy feel, depending on, you know, where you're from. Sounded very, very nice, very solid. Kept it very short. You know, I don't know if he had time restraints or just felt like he didn't have any more to offer. That's fine. That's fine. Because let's be real. If anybody is looking to purchase this track, that's all they need is like 30 seconds to a minute anyhow to really see, okay, this track is dope. So yeah, Monk, excellent job on that, my man. All right, moving on to a gentleman who was making his debut at CMA and in the podcast. This is a gentleman who actually followed me on YouTube for a while. And, you know, I first helped him out. He had actually came to one of my videos, and based on what I was asking in the video, ended up asking a couple of other questions. And, you know, we kind of went back and forth a little bit and helped him, you know, solve his problem. And I believe that was like last summer. So imagine my surprise when this dude just pops up at CMA a couple weeks back. I'm looking at the order. I'm like, is that who I? Yep, there it is. Yep, that's him. So making his Computer Music Academy and weekly homework assignment debut, I call him EJ, but you can call him Lord Magnus. Let's get into it. Yes, yes, Lord Magnus making his debut. Very, very nice, my man. That was he wrote in the comment, well, in the optional section of the submission. He said that was an entrance for the late great Junkyard Dog, who was one of my favorite characters when I was coming up. I love Junkyard Dog, and actually, as I've watched the WWE Network, which I'm subscribed to. I've actually seen a nice amount of his matches and learned a lot more about him and a lot of other characters. You know, your Ric Flair, your Dusty Rhodes, and so many other greats. But yeah, Junkyard Dog, JYD was one of my dudes when I was coming up. Like, I almost liked him more than Hogan. That's real. Because he looked like me and everybody loved him. He was a great wrestler, great character. But yeah, that was a very, very cool entrance. Now, I do have to call this out. And I highly recommend you check this out before you turn in your next submission. This particular submission was very hot. And what I mean by that is the all of your sounds, the track itself. Now, looking at the waveform, when I first put it into Ableton, you know, for those who don't know, I use Ableton to do the podcast. But when I first pulled it into Ableton, I saw the waveform. The waveform was just thick and heavy. It was like really, really, really thick. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a little loud. So I already turned it down in the beginning, just a little bit. But even with that, you can tell that it's really over compressed and everything sounds pretty distorted. I can hear what's going on in the song, and the song itself sounds dope, but everything sounds really distorted, unfortunately. And it appears that you did it at the end, like you made the track, and at the end you put maybe some compression or limiting, or maybe a mastering plugin on like the master channel, and that just brought everything up. I don't know how the mix was before that, but I can definitely tell that it's really over compressed and it's really loud and distorted. Listen to everybody else in the podcast and you'll definitely understand what I'm saying. But before your next submission, I want to make sure that you understand not to do that, because you don't want to scare anybody off with your stuff being too hot, because that kind of makes it seem like you're unprofessional. And, you know, we're not there quite yet, but you have to appear that you are what you want to be. Understand that concept. But other than that, I liked everything about it. From what I was actually able to get from that, outside of it being distorted, it was a really dope track. I liked everything about that. Really, really, really. So, excellent debut, my man. Just work on that, you know, that compression. Make sure that you don't put as much or any at all, because I mastered the podcast. So be very, very, very careful about that stuff. And, you know, you can always get with me and we'll figure out something. But yeah, Lord Magnus, nice job, my man. All right, we are moving down south, visiting one of my favorite people, Gold 007. Let's see what's happening. Yo, that was pretty nice, and it's still going. Nothing but props on that gold. That was pretty dope, man. So obviously, and even if you're not a wrestling fan, you know who that was. That was The Rock. I really enjoyed the clips from The Rock that he took, which actually came from if you watched it, and I just previously mentioned it, that came from WrestleMania 31 that just went down the end of last month. Really, really enjoyed that. That was cool. And the crazy part about this is I can definitely hear The Rock come out to this. Now, Rock has had pretty much the same theme, just a couple of different variations of the same theme over the last 20 some years, close to 20 years. Yeah. But this, and as I'm listening to it, I'm envisioning him back at WrestleMania 31 when he came out when they were in California. And I can definitely hear this playing as he's out on stage, you know, because he comes to the top of the ramp first, and he kind of runs around and hypes up the crowd. Then he comes down. You know, he hasn't wrestled actively in some time, but I can definitely see him making an appearance with this music playing. I really, really enjoyed that go. It was a couple of other things that I really, really liked about this. The fact that I think it was around like between the 50 and a minute mark. There was a part in there that was very cool because it almost reminded me. It sounded like somewhat of a section of the original theme. It was like boom, boom, booms, ba. You know, that's how the original music goes. But Gold actually did something similar to that with the synths, and it almost hit those keys on point. That was pretty cool. The you know, they have synth risers, and I guess this would be a lower or a downer. It was just like that was really dope. Towards the end, actually had the speech where he was talking to Stephanie and Triple H. That was dope. That all the way around, that was a great submission, Gold. You continue to impress every week, my man. That was very, very nice. I didn't even know Gold was a Rock fan, or maybe he's not. I'm not sure, but that was definitely very entertaining, my man. All right. Coming back up north just a little bit to visit my man who has been holding it down, who is officially a Machine user now. He's been using Ableton for the last year or so. Now he's on Machine, and he's going to be integrating the two. So I'm very interested in hearing this. But my man, DJ Locturno, let's get it in. Yes, yes. That was totally, that threw me off. That went in a totally different direction. Excellent, excellent. DJ Nocturno, he said in the submission that was for a boxer, a fictitious boxer, of course, but his character would be Dante Silky Smooth Moore, and that would be his entrance with he and the entourage, and I guess some little pyro and some fog and lights and everything coming in, just kind of taking it easy, just grooving, rocking back and forth a little bit, just coming down to the ring. And truth be told, that would work. I would love to see that. I would love to see that entrance, man. And props to Locke, man. I think I give props to him just about every week, but this is like his first track using Machine. And if for nothing else, which there's a lot more that I can compliment, but if for nothing else, this dude's drum work and the sound and the impact on his drums, it in this particular track, man, those drums hit. He picked some excellent drums, and he picked excellent sounds all the way around. I mean, he actually picked up some electric piano, kind of Rhodes sounds, some samples from somewhere that put in the bass and the strings, and that was dope. That was very, very solid, my man. All right, Locke, I'm watching you, bruh. Excellent job. And now I'm coming back up to Detroit to finish off this particular assignment / podcast. Our man, Mr. Wallace. Let's go. My, Mr. Wallace knows how to end the show. Closing out weekly homework assignment podcast, number 85, Mr. Wallace. Now, in his submission, he said this theme music is for, and there is a name that I will try. No, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. It is Niijuhitei. Yeah. Naijite. I'm screwing that up. But the story is that he is the latest or the newest incarnation of Yokozuna. Now, for anybody that watched in the early to late 90s, Yokozuna was that dude. Okay. The character, first of all, rest in peace. The character of Yokozuna was that he was from Japan and he was this sumo wrestler. He was a big dude. He was like 6 feet plus and he was wide. He was like 450 plus. Big dude, but he was very agile. I mean, this dude could move in the ring. He really could. Look up some footage on him. But the thing that I never knew until recently is that he wasn't from Japan at all. He's actually Samoan. And there is a huge Samoan dynasty / family in wrestling history called the, I hope I pronounce it right, Anoa'i family. Look this up. But pretty much all of the Samoan wrestlers who have ever wrestled in at least the US, they're all related. And a lot of those people you actually know. If, for those who are of age, like before me, older than me, you have High Chief Peter Maivia. You have the Wild Samoans. You have Yokozuna. You have Umaga, rest in peace. You have, who else is in there early? There's a couple of other families that I'm a couple of other wrestlers that I'm missing that were like from the 80s and the 90s. But as you progress through the 90s, you actually have The Rock, who is Samoan, who we all know is black and Samoan. You also have Rikishi, who is in there. You have Rikishi's sons, the Usos. You also have one of my favorite wrestlers right now, Roman Reigns. And you can look it all up. They're all related. And they all are champions. They have done so much for the Samoan race. And Yokozuna is part of that. So that's really cool. Knowing that, that's really cool. And then listening to this music, listening to the detail that Wallace put into this joint. Man, this was really, really dope. And I can actually see this for either Yokozuna himself or for the next person who was doing a similar character. Man, this was really, really dope. And it sounded nice and clean. As Wallace, he said it himself that he's been, improving and working on his mixes over the last year. And he's been here just over a year now. And you can tell that his mixes are coming up and they're getting so much better. So, man, excellent job on the submission. There's one thing I would have liked to see, and I talked about it in last week's as well as a couple weeks before in the orchestral one. But in about the 147, where it gets to that last, I guess you could say the last quarter or last half of the second half of the song, where it actually comes back in with the full music. The only thing I felt that needed is just some more strings or elements on top of it that's kind of in the higher key that would have just brought that out and made it nice and lush. That something like that would have brought that out a little bit more, because we had already heard a nice amount of that in the first part. Then you had the second with the change up where everything dropped out and it was some different instruments, and then you brought that in at the very end along with the first part, man, some nice lush strings or something on the top of that at that very end, that would have just, but track was solid, very dope, my man, as it normally is dealing with Wallace, and as it is with pretty much everybody who has been contributing to CMA, to the weekly homework assignment. So shout out to Mr. Wallace, shout out to DJ Locturno, Gold 007, Lord Magnus, and Black Monk, and also thank you, the watcher, the viewer, the people who support us, comment, like the videos, share the videos every single week. We do appreciate you. Now, if you would like to be a part of what we do at Computer Music Academy, you have to come to the website and join. You can't join on Twitter. You sure as hell can't join on YouTube because people try. Oh, I'm ready to join. All right, cool. Come over to the website. I'll never understand that conversation. But if you're interested in being one of us, being a part of what we do, come over to computermusicacademy.com and join us. It is that simple. I'm done for the week. You enjoy the rest of your week, and I will talk to you next time. See ya.